Hey y'all, IrixGuy here. Welcome back to another live show. And if you're watching this at 7:40 p.m. New York City time, this is a live show. So welcome aboard, everyone. And this is IrixGuy's live show, so it's kind of across the board. I know I don't have my typical set actually in my studio. Welcome, Greenock Drone Guy. Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. Not the typical set. As you can see behind me, I'm working on some studio renovations, so I apologize for that. But hopefully we'll have some good content. You know, as always, ask me whatever you want to ask me. Anything is free game. All that I ask is that we always refrain from any sort of politically fueled topics, profanity, and any inappropriate subject matter, because that's unacceptable on the channel here. Welcome, Nate Sarag. I recognize Nate, long-time viewer of the channel. Very active. I really appreciate it. So I've had a lot of people ask, and actually, you know what? You just hit it, the Mavic. I did sell my Mavic Pro. The first one I got, it was kind of hard to pass that up. I mean, it's a it's a cool technology. It signals where DJI is heading. But actually, Matthew, I do remember you. I do clearly remember your name. Thank you so much for being a long-term supporter. It means a lot. But I have another Mavic Pro coming. And, you know, I had the Phantom 4 Pro. The first Phantom 4 Pro was defective. It had a dud controller. Unfortunately, my second Phantom 4 Pro, even though it performed well, there were intermittent glitches within the video. So it wasn't acceptable for me. So what I'm doing now, I've got another Mavic Pro coming, and I feel confident that, you know, again, updating to the most current firmware, the app version, and really tweaking the camera configuration, I feel confident that I should be able to achieve a very good 4K 30 video. Now, obviously, I won't get 4K 60 like I would with the Phantom 4 Pro, but I do have, you know, the smaller form factor, and that's important because you're going to take your drone more places with you if it's more portable. So I'm going to give the Mavic Pro a second shot, assuming that my first one was less than perfect. So that's my plan. Do you still have Sean Coonery? Yes. Live with Sean Coonery. Hey, Sean Coonery, where'd you go? He stepped out of the office for a minute, but he may join in on the live show here. So that's that's something to look forward to. And every Monday, you know, tune in for hashtag Maine Coon Monday. Sean Coonery's in a new video every Monday here on IrixGuy's Adventure Channel. And you can catch all the previous episodes on SeanCoonery.com. Hello from Topeka, Kansas. T-High Harlem Shake. Hello. Kansas, very cool place. Been out to, never been to Kansas, but I've been to Oklahoma City, and it was really, really cool, different terrain. You know, you see all those little things on the side of the road that are digging oil. I guess you call them oil rig or whatever. But that was kind of neat. Nate Sarog says, I'm about to sell my Phantom 4. Any ideas of a good price to sell it? It's mint. Well, you know, look at the, my best advice to figure out what you may be able to sell it for is look at eBay. You know, even if you don't sell it on eBay, kind of see what they're going for. And what I would do is, based upon that price, put it on Craigslist, you know, with the understanding that if you sold on an online auction site like eBay, etc., that you may, that you would likely encounter commission. So take that into account. You know, if you decide to sell it for a little bit less, if you get lucky and get someone on Craigslist or somewhere, you may be able to come out better than you would if you sold on an auction site and had to encounter that commission. Matthew says, just upgraded to the Mavic and I love it. Best low-budget platform out there. Well, and that's, you know, it's hard to, it's the Mavic, like I said, my first experience with it was less than perfect, but, you know, I got one of the first units, so I look forward to the next one. I hope it sounds like yours is doing really well, and that's great to hear because with my first one, I was unable to meet or exceed the Phantom 4 4K 30 video quality. But I'm hoping with my next Mavic Pro that's on its way, hopefully I'll be able to really fine-tune the performance and really get everything that I can out of that. My big priority is 4K video, and obviously the enhanced portability that the Mavic brings to the table is great, because I can, situations where I would not take a drone, I can take a drone because it's basically the size of a camera, which is really cool. Green Knock Drone Guy says, what do you do for a living? Actually, I do a lot of things, and it's entrepreneurship, and that's something I encourage everyone. If you're looking for something if you're the type person you can think outside of the box, and you can feel confident that even if you may fail multiple times, but if your successes are greater than potentially multiple failures, if you can experiment and dabble with multiple business ventures and see what works and what doesn't work, learn from your mistakes, consider every failure an opportunity to do better with the next idea. That's what I do. I'm constantly doing random ventures, business ventures that people may otherwise, that the mainstream may feel, that's kind of silly. Why would someone do that? If it's something that you're passionate about, or you can make yourself passionate about, and you continue to beat yourself up over not just succeeding, but exceeding your own personal goals, if you can do that and you can succeed well enough to continue to do it, just do it. And that's what I do. I mean, there's no cookie cutter, this is how it works type answer. I mean, there's so many ways that people, with entrepreneurship, there's no book. You create your book, and if it works, when it works, document your successes and share with others, if you're not the selfish type person. Charles Fisher says, hello from Kentucky. Kentucky, really good state, good food, good countryside. Stephen Shaw says, have you found any problems editing 4K 60? Actually, I've had no problems editing 4K 60. I use Final Cut Pro 10. Use it with a. You can find my. Actually, let me share a link to my setup here. This is what I'm using for all my video editing right now, and I've got a video here that showcases my 4K workflow. The same workflow that I use for 4K 30, I also use for 4K 60. And actually, all the videos you see on my channel that are published in 4K. This is the workflow that I use, and I found that I get consistently good results, and the file size is not too large to upload to YouTube. So, if you've edited 4K, you may have found, oh gosh, this file is huge, and then when you export your project, it may have been enormous. But to combat that, this is what I use. So this is my current desktop computer rig, my software, and my 4K video editing workflow. Again, I use it for 4K 30 and 4K 60. So it's worked really well. Greg says, you're getting the Mavic again. Good. Yeah, I felt really bad about it, and it's one of those things. I'm not, and obviously DJI Phantom has always been my favorite drone platform on the market. But I think when I got the Mavic Pro as an early adopter, I think maybe my unit was a little off the rocker. I mean, it was one of the first ones probably. So I'm hoping that this one I get from the new batch, 2017, I'm hoping it's rock solid, and I'm hoping I can meet or exceed the Phantom 4 4K 30 video quality, because that's what I'm going after. I want to meet or exceed that quality and stability from a video perspective. That's what's important for me. Richard says, Irix, I've been watching your show for some years, and I would like to know if you have a 333 to fly your drone. Actually, when you're doing, there's hobbyist use, and then there's there's commercial use and this, that, and the other. But when you're throughout the world, I mean, there's regulations that may or may not exist in certain areas. So I mean, my thing is, be aware of where you are. Check the current regulations and be obviously meet or exceed whatever regulations may exist in that country, in that particular area where flying is being performed. And ultimately, I mean, make sure that you know where you are and what you're doing, because you don't want to get yourself in a potential heap of trouble. So Nate Sarog says, do you use Lightroom? Lightroom, for everyone out there that may not know what it is, it's a photo editing program. I shouldn't say editing, I should say it's a photographer's tool. So if you shoot still photos, especially in RAW, which is a format that's able to be better manipulated within post-production, a software application such as Lightroom is a good tool. You know, if you snapped a photo and it's too dark, or maybe there's some coloration issues, or maybe there's a water spot on the camera lens, using a tool such as Lightroom can enable you to, within, you know, after you've already taken the photo, within post-production, to go in and potentially make that image look better. And that's particularly important for professionals that are in the photography business. So, you know, it's something that I don't, to answer your question, I don't use Lightroom, but it's something I want to do. My priority has been video, so I'm a heavy Final Cut Pro 10 user, which is a completely different animal. But as I continue to advance the still photography hobby, Lightroom is something that I want to explore, because it's supposed to be the best in class. That's the consensus opinion. Charles says, I've been flying Autel Robotics for last year. Very happy, impressed with them. They just announced the FLIR Duo camera and other mods. Whoa, I didn't know that. That sounds very cool. And FLIR, that is infrared. That is sweet. Autel drone. I'm going to Google that right now. Yeah, CES, I would absolutely love to be out there. Consumer Electronics Show. I mean, that is cool. It says, come see us. I'm on the Autel website. They say, come see us. I'm going to have to check that out after this show, because that is good news. Thank you so much for sharing that. New drones. Well, I haven't been keeping up with CES as much as I wanted to. I watched the Sony's, I guess you would call it, keynote, and I was hoping for a Sony A7R3, Sony Alpha A7R3 camera that would do 4K 60 frames per second, but it was kind of disappointing that Sony did not announce that. But the drone thing, I want to check out. I want to follow up with the CES happenings and see what's coming. And for everyone not familiar, Autel, and I haven't flown one yet, but it's something that I'd like to maybe get my hands on in the near future. But if you look at it, it looks very similar to the DJI Phantom design. But when you look at the camera, it has a Sony or an Exmor sensor, which is a Sony sensor. So that impresses me. And that's cool that you said you've been flying it and you've been impressed with it. The one thing on paper I don't like, and obviously I fly line of sight to be safe and responsible, but it lacks the range of a Mavic Pro or a DJI Phantom 3 Pro or a DJI Phantom 4. Not that that's an issue. Again, you know, flying line of sight to be safe and responsible. But how has your FPV, your first-person view experience been? Has it been a reliable connection, or have you flown DJI Phantom? Does it seem to be as good or better? You know, how about the app? Is the app good? Nasty Thug says, do you plan on revisiting YouTube studios in the future? Actually, I do. It's on my books. I've been to YouTube Space in New York. That was quite an experience to be able to just walk in and let's see. I just had a camera glitch. Hopefully, I think that was just my internet connection. We should be good. But it's a really cool experience to go there, and you know, you're in this recording studio, and you're just a YouTuber, and you've got these people. Like literally, I walked into one place, and it was a room I had booked, and they had a full-blown music video production. No joke, like probably a crew of 7 or 8 people, multiple super expensive cameras. And I'm walking in there to film, and they're like, you know, who are you? What are you doing? I said, well, you know, actually, I've got the studio booked for the next 2 hours, but you know, I'm just going to walk in and check it out and have some fun, and y'all can have it. I'll just let y'all have it. But that is a really impressive studio. You're talking about multi-million dollars of equipment, and you can just check it out. I mean, literally check out the equipment. That's how cool it is. I mean, Google is so cool to provide not just the tools that we use for YouTube, but to provide a physical brick-and-mortar environment where content creators can go and utilize this ultra high-end gear that would be extremely out of my budget, and these studios that are just like, I mean, literally Hollywood to create stuff. It's really neat. Nate Sarog says, do you shoot in RAW or JPEG? Actually, I do RAW plus JPEG on my Sony Alpha. And then that way most of the time I'm just using my JPEG files to distribute on social media, etc. But it's nice to have the RAW if I snap a really good photo that I want to enhance in post-production. To your point, a tool such as Lightroom. I'm such a novice with photo editing right now. I just use the Photos app that's built into Mac. I know that's kind of silly, but I can remove water spots, dust spots, that sort of thing within that. So once I hit the next level, I want to take those RAW files that I've captured throughout the years and go into a program like Lightroom and really touch them up and make them perfect. Charles says, Alltel just announced 2 new cameras. Also, new software development. Very cool. Very cool. Stream says, just bought the Phantom 4 Pro, waiting for it to be here. I hope your camera on the Phantom 4 Pro works well. You can check out my videos I did have. And again, I love DJI, and Phantom is my favorite drone platform today. But I did encounter intermittent video issue where it would do like that. And that's, for me, that's less than optimal. But hopefully it's just a kink, and hopefully it's not something that's plaguing all the Phantom 4 Pros out there. So let's see. Charles says it's very reliable. Yes, the Starlink app is awesome. Nate Sarog says try Mexican Coke sometime. Tons better than regular. Yeah, this is just, I got this in the United States. It's just a Coca-Cola, and yeah, the Mexican Coke it does have a different flavor, and actually throughout the world, places I've been, and it always tastes different. It's really interesting, but yeah, you can't beat. I wish I had invented Coca-Cola. I'd be a happy dude. Let's see. Stream Alexander says, thanks for the heads up. I will definitely check it out. So yeah, I mean, there's CES. Everyone that's not aware, CES, Consumer Electronics Show, is going on right now in Las Vegas. So it seems like, from the little bit that I've researched, it seems like HDR, high dynamic range TVs, 4K high dynamic range TVs seem to be the big trend. And it almost seems like VR, your 360-degree spherical videos, it almost seems like that was a thing of last year. And I'm hoping that VR is not something that flutters and goes away again, because they're so close with the 360. If you've been on my YouTube channel, you've looked at any of the 360 videos, or if you look at Facebook, the videos where you can move your camera around, it's a really cool. I don't look at it as gimmicky. I look at it as really cool. They just don't have the camera quality yet to support. I mean, you can get the multiple GoPro rig, but that's cost prohibitive for most everyone. But just a consumer-grade camera that would do true 4K video in 360-degree spherical, they don't have that yet. I think my hope is that the technology continues to exist and remain popular until they get that. Because otherwise, if they don't get the quality up to the technology, I guess I should say not the technology, but the experience. You get the experience now. You can look around, you can move your phone around, but you just don't have the visual quality that you have with a standard 16 by 9 video that's not 360. You're not getting that true 1080p or that true 4K. It looks grainy. So hopefully that'll catch up soon before the people lose interest. I mean, people lose interest with a new technology quite rapidly if it doesn't meet or exceed their expectations. So Greg says, when are you getting your Mavic? I should have the Mavic. I'm assuming maybe a few weeks. I mean, as you know, it's a hot item. So, I had the Mavic. I had the Mavic not shortly after it came out. Actually, mine took a long time to arrive. but I sold it before Christmas, and I'm hoping to have another one here soon. Charles said, tried to send a link of the Autel promo. It won't let me. Yeah, I'll check that out. It'd be cool if Autel was watching this and, but hey, dude, you want to check out our drone? Of course I would. Just reach out to me. If you know anybody at Autel, just say, hey, I know this YouTube guy. Send him a drone to check out. I'd love to do that. Stream Alexander says, in Atlanta, Georgia, they have a Coke factory. If you haven't already, I'd recommend checking it out. They have hundreds of different Cokes that you can try to taste. Awesome. Yep, Coke's my drink. I love my Coke. I drink one a day, and that's it, because it's got a lot of sugar and stuff in it. So yeah, so what else is exciting here? I mean, drones are kind of they're the biggest thing that's occurred, at least in my opinion, during the past 15 years or so. Cool. Hey, Charles, man. Dude, you don't have to do that, but my email address, if you want to email me, well, there's two ways to contact me directly. The best way is my Facebook fan page, facebook.com/IrixGuy. And then also, if you want to email me directly, it's IrixGuy@gmail.com. Nasty Thug says, would you purchase the Phantom 5 if it is released in the spring? Well, it depends on what the specs are. I mean, if it's actually what has taken me back from Mavic Pro. So I went Mavic Pro, Phantom 4 Pro, which my two units were, the first one had a brick controller, the second one, the video was inconsistent. So I'm going to use the Mavic Pro in the interim, and hopefully the Mavic Pro that I receive in the next week or so, hopefully it's spot on. Hopefully I can achieve 4K 30 video that's as good or better than my Phantom 4. If I can do that, my plan is to continue to use that drone, the Mavic Pro, until Phantom 5 comes out. And again, like Stream Alexander said, he says I would buy the Phantom 5 depending upon which features it has. That's the way I am. If Phantom 5 if it features a foldable design, maybe a little bit heavier, maybe a little bit larger than the Mavic Pro, I'm definitely interested in the Phantom 5. What I'd really like to see on the Phantom 5 is landing clearance that's greater than the Mavic Pro. Because as you know, with Mavic Pro, you've got to land on a flat surface. You've got to be aware of where you're landing because the camera and the gimbal assembly are in such close proximity of the ground. You don't want to damage your camera and or your gimbal. So I'm hoping Phantom 5 is a little bit larger than the Mavic Pro. Maybe it folds up as small, but to have a little bit better performance in wind that's a little bit more significant, and hopefully a modular camera, that would be great, and a dual controller option. That'd be really cool. Have a second person part of your crew. You got one person operating the drone. You've got a second person that's manipulating the camera. That would be really cool. The Mavic Pro can do 4K 30, and I think it can also do 4K 24. My problem with Mavic Pro, my first Mavic Pro, when I did 4K 30, was that I never could achieve what I felt was acceptable focus. And I know, thanks to my viewers, they said, you need to update, you need to download a different DJI Go app. It's not just an updated version of your current Go app that you used with Phantom 3 Pro and Phantom 4. There's actually a separate download. So I downloaded that. I tried, I turned it on, you heard a little sound that indicated that it was autofocusing, and there wasn't anything directly in front of it. It should have focused to infinity, but I never could achieve what I felt was quality focus. And there's been a lot of reports on the internet that there were some units that were less than perfect. So I'm thinking my first one may have fallen into that category. So I'm hoping with the second Mavic Pro that I'll be receiving here in the next few weeks, I'm hoping that I can get that 4K 30 video that looks as good or better than Phantom 4. And that's both a video quality and saturation, the saturation of the colors, and then also the the stability of the gimbal. You know, when it's flying around, does it jerk around? Does wind, a small amount of wind, does it disrupt the performance of the video, etc.? Stream Alexander says, do they make better, bigger batteries than the 5870 milliamp for the Phantom 4 Pro? Not that I've seen yet, but obviously I'm always keeping my eyes out. Something that's kind of weird with the previous generation Phantoms, you know, looking back at the Phantom 2 especially, there were a lot of third-party battery manufacturers. So it makes me wonder if that's something we're going to see with the Phantom 4, with the Phantom 4, Phantom 4 Pro, and beyond. Yeah, Greg, if you've got the current version of DJI Go app, you know, check your app store, search for DJI Go app. If you're running the current version, when you go into camera settings, there should be a 4K 30 video setting for the Mavic Pro. Mine had it, for sure. Hi, IrixGuy. How do you see people using drones 20 years from now? Well, it all depends upon, unfortunately, it all depends upon regulation. At an international level, drones are a hot topic, and you know, like anything else that's popular and has the potential of being misused, the media are always, you know, they're about buzz, because the more buzz their broadcasts create, the more advertising dollars they get. So, you know, unfortunately, anytime they have the opportunity to showcase less than responsible drone use, they do it, and it's going to hurt the hobby. And I don't know, you know, it's hard to predict the future, but it's going to be difficult to see how they will be used. If they don't become banned at an international level, I see it revolutionizing a lot of things, especially if they change the oh, cool, you're in the Go Out 4. Yeah, you talk. Thank you. I mean, I can see it being a situation where it enables a lot of companies, if depending upon the laws in whatever country, if the laws allow the commercial use of drones for delivery, I can see small items. It's going to enable a lot of companies to deliver small items to people's doorsteps a lot less inexpensively. You know, and they'll be able to use the big shipping companies to ship the heavy stuff, but it'll enable them to ship the small stuff themselves. So that's kind of neat. Other than that, I mean, search and rescue, I see it being a big thing for that. Again, the drones with the specialized cameras, I see that being a big thing, especially if you're doing some sort of, and again, these comments are in line with commercial use, but if someone was going to use it to survey an area, you know, maybe they got some sort of special camera on it, and they can see, you know, they're looking for temperature fluctuations in the ground for whatever business purpose. They're going to be huge for commercial use. Again, if international laws don't get in the way, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Stream Alexander says, for range extender, what do you recommend? Yeah, when it comes to range extender and those sorts of mods, I'm not familiar with them because, you know, with my stock Phantom 3 Pro or Phantom 4, it would greatly exceed line of sight if I wasn't careful. So I've never experimented with them, just because I always fly line of sight. So I wouldn't be able to provide any advice that would be beneficial. Sorry about that. So what else we got going on here? It's about 8:09 New York City time. For everyone on the East Coast or familiar with the East Coast of the United States, that big city where you get good pizza. Jake says, I wonder how much the Phantom 5 will be. Well, you know, I think a lot of that will be determined by, and this is an assumption, like a lot of things here, but it's if they create an upgraded version of Mavic Pro and they raise the price of it, in theory they could raise the price of the Phantom 5. if they're going to make, my assumption is that they're going to make the Phantom 5 a more professional, more customizable option than it is now. And they're going to make the Mavic, they're going to continue to make it the ultra portable drone line, and then the Inspire, the drone for people with bottomless budgets that don't care about the travel size and travel weight. So, that's my assumption. I mean, hopefully they'll get some competition. I mean, we thought, they've had a lot of people come along that have tried to compete. I mean, we've got we had GoPro, which is the first time we've seen DJI really shaking their boots, and then Karma came out as a failure. So they got all nervous for nothing. And we've had other, lesser-known companies that have come out. The one that really piqued my curiosity is, I'm scrolling back up here in the comments, that Charles had mentioned, a company called Alltel. That's something I'd really love to get my hands on, one of those, and just play with it and put it on the YouTube channel and see what it looks like. That would be that'd be cool. I mean, to see some competition come into the playing field that could potentially lower the price of drones. I mean, if you've got more people competing, they want to sell more of their products. So if they can, if this company's selling it for this, and they create a product that'll do the same thing, it becomes a matter of for the consumer, obviously they want to go after quality, but if they can get the same performance for a lesser price, they're probably going to do that, because why spend more money if you don't have to? So what DJI has right now, even though they don't technically have a monopoly, they kind of do have a monopoly from the perspective that, if you look at what's out there, what would you really fork that amount of money into that would provide as good or better performance than a DJI drone? There's just really nothing out there. So for that reason, I think their prices are definitely inflated. And I think when we do have a true competitor come to the playing field, I think that's when we'll see more affordably priced drones. No, Greg, mine was 4K 3.0. That is really weird. Actually, I'm going to table your question when I get my second Mavic Pro. I'm going to fire it up and see if it's got 4K 30 on there. Maybe it's a recent app update since I had my first Mavic Pro that has disabled 4K 30. I don't know. That's strange. I do use a controller harness. I do not. Okay, there you go. Greg's got it. Yep, 3840 by 2160. That's what you call 4K Ultra HD. And then you've got the 4096 by 2160, which is what they call Cinema. I think they call it Cinema 4K, which is a slightly larger canvas. So that makes sense. So yeah, if you're at 4096 by 2160, yeah, it'll top out at 24. Mine was the same. I do everything in 3840 by 2160 simply because it's the exact same format as when I say format, I mean physical size as a 4K TV. If you buy a 4K smart TV and you're watching a YouTube video or whatever with it, you're going to be watching at it in 3840 by 2160. So for that reason, there's Sean Coonery. Everybody was asking. For that reason, I just do everything in 3840 by 2160. The obvious advantage to 4096 by 2160 would be that extra physical real estate that you've recorded. If you want to do some minor cropping and such within post, with that extra physical size, you've got a little bit of room to tweak things a little bit and still maintain that 4K Ultra HD 3840 by 2160 or greater resolution. Let's see. Luke, let's see. Nasty Thug says, how did your Mavic handle in the wind compared to the Phantom? Actually, it handled well, but I will say that the wind, and I noticed it with when I reviewed, not so much is when I was flying, but when I reviewed the video that had been recorded, Sean Cooner, you're gonna have to move. It didn't handle as well as the Phantom, but it handled really well. I mean, I was super impressed with how well it handled given the small travel size and small travel weight. So it did not perform as well as a Phantom 3 Pro or a Phantom 4, but it did work extremely well in my opinion. Stream says, do you use the HDMI output mold for the remote controller? I've never used it. I haven't had a need to output the video, but it's something I may check out in the future. Now, I have had some of my previous Phantoms that I was tinkering with. You notice that I recorded the screen, the in-app view, and I did that utilizing several tools, including a laptop. So I was able to capture everything in real time, and then when I pieced it together in post, you could see what the controller saw, and then everything else. Greenock Drone Guy says, does DJI give you drones to review, or do you buy your own and review? I buy all my own, and the reason being is that I started this hobby with a Phantom 1. Sean Cooner, you're gonna have to move. I know you got fans out there, but you're gonna have to move off the set. So hold on just a second here. Yep, you can go over there. He's gonna walk down. There you go. He said, I heard y'all asking about me. He said I had to make my personal presence known. No, I do not get free drones to review, but obviously if a company wanted me to review a drone, that'd be a cool opportunity. Since I like flying drones so much, it's just one of those things. For example, if you do a search on the internet for any sort of thing, and you find something, it's easy to watch videos and come to the conclusion that was likely a product that was likely given to somebody. You can just tell when you look at the production quality of the video, when you look at the way people are dressed when they're filming the video, how they say things, how they rattle off all of these detailed specs that your average Joe or Jane viewer wouldn't care about. It's one of those things that's obvious that was likely a product that they were likely given to review. And for that reason, don't get me wrong. If somebody wants to send me a drone review, I would be happy to do that. And obviously I would say, well, I got this as a sample and I'm testing it out and this, that, and the other, so that people know that, it may have been something that I may not would have bought on my own. But with the DJI drones, and actually all the drones you see on my channel, I purchased those. And it's something that I can give my honest feedback. And you've seen, if you've watched my Phantom 4 Pro and my Mavic Pro videos that I posted so far, you've seen what I've experienced. I don't have to filter it. I can say, this is what happened. You can watch my videos and you can see what happened. Just because I love, at this point in time, I feel that the Phantom is the best drone platform in the world. Just because I say that doesn't mean that it can't have flaws. So, for that reason, again, I don't want to feel like, well, I want to say this, but they gave me this drone, so they can't. You see what I'm saying? When you buy your own stuff and you review your own stuff, you don't have any sort of allegiance for that manufacturer. So, it is what it is. You don't feel like they're gonna give you the stink eye if you say something less than positive. Just look at the internet. Look at the videos out there, and you'll be able to spot the ones that aren't. Let's see. Jake says, you have virtual reality. Yeah, I film a lot of videos in 360. Check out my channel and search for 360 videos. There's a lot of, and again, the video quality is not going to be like my 4K videos. It's going to look like a degraded resolution, but you're going to see you'll get to experience them. If you use your phone, you'll get to move it around, and you'll have that VR, that virtual reality experience, which is pretty cool. Greg says, yes, I blame you for getting my Mavic. Love this drone. Thanks. But do you like 30 or 24? That's an argument that you're going to have not just with drones, but with cameras across the board. People are going to say, man, you got to film in 24, man. It's more cinematic. And then I'm the weirdo that films in 30. And my thoughts are, if I retime a video in post-production, I'll speed it up, slow it down, whatever, that having those additional 6 frames per second may make the video look better when it's retimed than 24. But a lot of people are like, man, 24 is what you need to do. I can say I do 30. Maybe my logic behind that is is kind of silly. You know, but I do everything in 4K 30. And when cameras evolve, I'll switch to 4K 60. And that's something I'm hoping with the, and not just drone cameras, but with the Sony Alphas and that sort of stuff, when they start pumping out the 4K 60 capable bodies, that's something I look forward to. So to answer your question, the more frames per second, the merrier, in my opinion. Let's see here. Stream Alexander says, for someone buying their first Phantom, what would you recommend must have a purchase? Check out my 400orbelow.com website. I just posted the link, and you can browse through and browse the various drone models. And I've got a ton of accessories for each drone there. So check that out. I mean, there's tons of stuff. Check it out. Drop me a message if you have any questions. Stream says, do you have any added-on lights for your Phantom or other drone? Actually, I don't. I mean, obviously the lights that are integrated into it, the navigational lights, but I don't because I don't fly at night. So the lights would be of no value for me. Luke says, why do you think DJI is not a publicly traded company? Well, and that's a very interesting question. It's honestly, I kind of think it's smart business. I mean, if you look at a company like GoPro, for example, that went public. They went public a year or so ago. Ticker symbol GPRO. You look at a company that goes public. So for everyone out there that may not be familiar with Wall Street, this, that, and the other, I'm going to kind of summarize this in a Joe Bob and Jane Bob kind of fashion. But when a company goes public, it means that they have investors. You know, if you buy stock, if you've ever heard people saying, oh, I'm going to buy shares of stock in such and such company, or I just bought some stock for, whatever company, within whatever company, that means that people are spending their money to buy shares of this company. Shares basically being a small percentage of ownership of that company, and that people that purchase those shares, their expectation is that the company is going to become more profitable, and that their shares, let's say hypothetically someone bought a share at $1 a share, and let's say the company does exceptionally well, and now it's trading at $200 a share. So they bought one share at $1, and now it's at $200. So that's a $199 per share increase, and that's an extreme example. But why would a company such as DJI not go public? Well, there's pros and cons to publicly traded companies. Publicly traded companies, they have more cash to invest in future product design. I mean, they've got people that are investing, hoping that, well, they're giving them all this money, so hopefully they'll use this money and make the company more profitable, and in turn, the shares that I own should appreciate in value. The flip side of a publicly traded company is that it often becomes what's referred to as owned by the street being Wall Street. So you've got a company that's not public. There's a lot more attention to detail that can be performed by the people that work for the company. They don't have to make certain business moves. For example, if you own a company that's publicly traded and the stock price is plummeting, being someone that's employed by that company, it's your mission to not only keep your employees happy and your customers happy, but to also keep Wall Street happy. Because if your stock is tumbling, you may make a strategic business decision solely for the purpose of hoping to boost your stock's price per share. And that business decision, although it may effectively make that price per share go up, it may not be in the best interest of your customers and or your employees. So for that reason, a lot of companies, they stay away from what's called going public, IPO, initial public offering. That's when a company goes public, they have an IPO, an initial public offering, and at that point, people are able to purchase shares of that company. And a lot of times with these, look at, do a Google search or something for IPO, initial public offering, and look at companies that have gone public. And what you may notice with a lot of them, and there are exceptions, but what you may notice with a lot of them is that they start kind of low and then they spike drastically. After that stock becomes publicly traded, it often spikes drastically. But then they often dip, and they often dip way below the initial public offering price, the IPO price. There are exceptions. But for the most part, when a company goes public, it can be damaging for their product line, their product and/or services line. So just something to be aware of. And I think for that reason, and that was a long rant, and I apologize, but I wanted to answer your question. I think that's why someone like DJI may not go public. I mean, they've seen what going public has done to companies like GoPro, and they don't want to be part of that fun. Just my opinion. The setup says, Jake says, would you recommend the Phantom 3 Standard? Actually, this is what I would recommend. Hold on. Sorry, my internet kind of got a little bit choppy here. Yeah, check out this link on my 400 or below page, and I would look at the advanced. Your Phantom 3 Standard and your Phantom 3 4K, they're both using Wi-Fi to communicate with the drone. Your Phantom 4 Advanced, which after firmware update tops out at 2.7K, and your Phantom 4 Pro, which tops out at 4K 30, both of those are using what's called a light bridge technology, which is the predecessor of what you're seeing in the current model Mavic Pro and Phantom 4 Pro. Really good FPV experience from my flying experience with the Phantom 3 Pro. I flew it a ton and I loved it. But if you don't, if you want to get in on a skeleton budget, there's nothing wrong with the Phantom 3 Standard. The setup says, I had a slight drone crash yesterday. I was flying at sunset in windy conditions. When landing, wind pushed my drone into the railing. Oh, man. That is not good, dude. That's one of the disappointing things about drones. Every time it goes airborne, obviously in a safe and responsible location, every time it goes airborne, I know something that I always have in my mind is that I never expect to see this drone. Well, actually, I'll see it again, because it'll crash if it malfunctions, but my expectation is that it'll never work again. If it goes up and there's some sort of catastrophic error and it falls to the ground in a safe location, I may not be able to use the drone again. And that's one of the disheartening parts about one of the disheartening aspects about anything that's, any sort of aerial vehicle or aircraft rather. I mean, you can't predict what may happen, and it hurts. I mean, it hurts when it happens. John G says, ouch, that had to have cost you a prop or two. Yeah. Yeah, setup says, optical sensors do not work in low light conditions. Prop top broke off, was only damage. Stream says, how many batteries do you own for Phantom 4, and what charger do you use? Actually, for Phantom 4, I only had 2. Because the battery life was just, it's so good. Oh, man, battery fell in water. Oh. Stream Alexander says, do you use stock props or aftermarket? Something I've never used aftermarket or props. I use prop guards all the time. You can find those on my 400below.com website, and they work great. But yeah, I've never. They're just never, something that I've wanted to use third party, just because, that's kind of the meat and potatoes of the drone. I don't know if I could trust a third party prop. And the main thing is what advantage would I get from using a third party prop? I've used the carbon props from DJI, and also the the standard props, and they've worked great for me. I mean, I've been able to capture very smooth and high quality 4K 30 video. Luke, let's see, Luke LeBeau. No, dude, I fly for fun, man. Let's see. So what else we got? I got a few more minutes. We're hitting about the 52-minute mark. Make sure I've covered everything here. So ask away all the questions you got. We got a few more minutes. Again, I apologize for the studio. It's kind of, it's not my typical setup, but like everything else, I'm working to improve the studio setup, so it'll be better next time. Is the audio good though? Let's see. Green Dot Drone Guy says, my friend bought a new Phantom 4 battery from eBay. Yeah. When it comes to propellers and batteries, actually when it comes to anything, I'm always careful about what I'm using. Because you got to think, I mean, drone's expensive. And when you got that camera and the drone and all that up in the air, obviously in a safe and responsible location, it's, a crash could be catastrophic. So at least I don't want to deal with certain third-party components that may cause it to fail. Nasty Thug 400 or below.com. That's a website I've set up for, got links to all the drones there. Jay says, how about Phantom 4 horizon issues? Interesting you said that. Tilted horizon issue. I experienced it several times with my Phantom 2 Vision Plus and my Phantom 3 Pro. And I had to do the calibrations, this, that, and the other, and I was able to sort it out. But it would often resurface, especially with my Phantom 3 Pro. With the Phantom 4 was the most reliable platform that I've used so far. There were no video glitches, which was absolutely incredible. There were there was an occasional tilted horizon issue, but when it occurred, it wasn't as severe as what I experienced with the Phantom 3 Pro or the Phantom 2 Vision Plus. And I was able to recalibrate, and and it was able to effectively eliminate the issue. So, yeah, the Phantom 4 Pro to date has been the most rock-solid aerial platform that I've used. Now, keep in mind, like I said, I did briefly experience tilted horizon, but watch my plethora of Phantom 4 videos, and you may see one or two of them where there's a slight tilted horizon, but it was so, you would have to be looking for it. Your average viewer wouldn't see it and say, man, that video looks crooked. What's going on with that? You'd have to really be nitpicky to see it. Whereas with the Phantom 2 Vision Plus and the Phantom 3 Pro, when it occurred, it was quite obvious, at least on mine. Yep. So yeah, it's been a good show, and I'm hoping to have another live show here, maybe even tomorrow. So stay tuned to youtube.com/IrixGuy. As always, I appreciate your viewership, and most importantly, share with others. Encourage other people to subscribe. You're in an elevator, you're in the grocery store, wherever you may be, just say, there's this channel. And they're like, channel? You're like, yep. And just say, go to YouTube and type in IrixGuy, IrixGuy, and encourage them to subscribe and share with others, because the channel right now is almost at 50,000 subscribers, and it's almost at 31 million video views. And I realize it's not a lot, but it takes subscriptions. It takes people actively participating in the conversation. sharing with others. That's the only way a channel like this will grow. It's organic growth. I'm not part of a multi-channel network. I am the show. So, I'm the show, but I'm dependent upon all of y'all to make this show possible and to enable this channel to continue to grow. So with that being said, I really appreciate it. Again, welcome to 2017. It's a new year, and it's positioned to be the best year yet for IrixGuy's Adventure Channel. A couple more questions before we conclude here, because I got to run. Nasty Thug says, "Give IrixGuy a thumbs up." Thank you so much, man. I see you comment on a lot of my videos. I appreciate it. Adam says, "What's your favorite vid on your channel?" That's hard to say, but I'll give y'all one y'all can watch. And this is one that it's one of my more recent videos, but I feel really good about it. So let me toss that link up here. It's the most, and it was with a Phantom 4, by the way. So I thought it was really neat. Apologize, I'm having to scroll through here to find it. Got so many videos. But here we go. Yep, so this is the one it's my favorite video right now. I just felt like it was, I felt like the video quality was great throughout. Again, filmed with Phantom 4, just a regular Phantom 4 in 4K 30. But yeah, that's my favorite video right there, the link I just posted. How did I come up with my YouTube name? Complete Gibberish. Put something together. I'm like, man, that sounds nerdy. That sounds cool. My original intent was to create a YouTube channel just for the purpose of uploading a video or two from a trip and sharing with others. It wasn't my intent to become a YouTube celebrity, but stuff happens, and it is what it is. So Stream Alexander says 50,000 subscribers is a lot. It may seem like it, but in the YouTube realm, it's actually not. And that's the thing I need to work on the most in 2017 is increasing the number of organic subscribers. Continuing to organically grow this channel as an independent channel and not becoming part of a network. So yeah, that's big. Yeah, more Facebook likes. Facebook.com/IrixGuy. Definitely like, share. I mean, that's a huge help. Instagram.com/IrixGuy. Let's see. Twitter.com/IrixGuy. Pinterest.com/IrixGuy. So with that being said, I mean, we're about to hit the 1 hour mark. Going to have a new show hopefully tomorrow, if not this weekend. And we're going to go through everything. So be thinking of your questions. And again, it's been a fun show. I appreciate it. Apologize for the studio. The last question was, does your green screen wall work as a screen? That's actually what I use for a lot of my videos. When I'm chroma keying, I got my foreground and my background clip. I'm using the green wall and the lights to create the chroma key effect. George says, what do you think about YouTube Red? I love Google, and I like the tools they provide us with, but I'm not a fan of YouTube Red. I don't think it's fair for content creators. That's just my opinion. So y'all have a good one, and see y'all soon. Hopefully tomorrow. Hey y'all, IrixGuy here. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to subscribe, like, and share. It's viewers like you that enable my channel to continue to grow. Thank you.